Well, actually, is it one of the most important suppliers? Because what Apple's trying to say is actually you claim all these royalties when we're actually not always using your chips.
Right. I mean, there's two things at play here. There's the chips and then there's the patents. The patents cover the fundamental technologies of all modern high-speed data networks and phones. So whether you use Qualcomm chips or not, you pay Qualcomm. That's the rules in the phone industry. Apple is saying, hold on a minute, you're paying a percentage of the full price of the phone. There's so many other things in the phone that why should I be paying you for these things? Qualcomm says try and use a phone without our network chips.
There's an analyst out there, and they're saying this is all-out war. Do you think it is all-out war?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, the expectations that Qualcomm had just a week ago when they gave the forecast that you just mentioned, they said explicitly, look, we don't, we're not ruling it out, but we don't really expect Apple to do this. A week later, they've done it.
And when you're looking at how much they've cut their profit forecast, I mean, it could be as much as 30%, more than 30% less of the top of the range in terms of earnings per share guidance. How much would this be dented if suppliers start being lent on by Apple and they too follow suit and stop paying Qualcomm?
It's a very complicated situation. How we can slice this up is if you look, on average, Qualcomm has taken $500 million out of the quarterly revenue. So that means on a licensing revenue, Apple indirectly through its suppliers is paying $2 billion a year in licensing revenue. That's almost pure profit. So that's a lot of money.
What do we expect to come of this? Because this is a legal wrangling that's going to run and run. It's already been 5 years, according to Apple, that they've been in a linguistic dispute, and now it's gone to the courts. Could these sorts of payments be on hold ad infinitum?
Well, again, two ways to look at it. If this goes through the courts, if it follows the usual procedures, appeals, backwards and forwards, a couple of years at the minimum. That's a long time to be without that licensing revenue if you're Qualcomm. Other way to look at it, from Qualcomm's perspective, this is just a negotiation. This is just a way of the two trying to find a middle ground where they can agree upon a percentage.
What surprised me is the shares did initially react for Qualcomm, but then they sort of bounced back and they were up about 0.2% last time I looked. Why is the share price not under more duress?
Well, look how Qualcomm has performed this year relative to other chip stocks. It's clearly underperformed. I mean, the shock is already built in. This is just kind of confirming some of the worse or less good scenarios that people have already kind of baked into their models. So on a headline basis, it looks horrible, but some people had actually been predicting that this might happen.
Already braced themselves. There is the one-year chart, and you can see that it's fallen down significantly since the end of last year.